afternoon. Where do you see the nursery?
Did you operate the screwdriver yourself, Mr. Fix-It?
I'm a nesting father-to-be. I'll go to any lengths.
Hey, Zoe. Zoe. George.
Yes?
Come close this door for me.
I got you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I know it's very annoying. Trust me. I understand.
That kid. All right. Hey y'all, how y'all doing today? We about to get started shortly. Today's show is all about imposter syndrome. Let's go ahead and get some people in this live real quick. And let's do a quick post. Hey y'all, it's time to get started with Monday Motivation. Today we are talking about imposter syndrome. Who is holding you back? Is it you? How are you talking to yourself? Let's go ahead and talk about it today. Monday Motivation. Let's go. Hello. How y'all doing? It's time to get started with Monday Motivation. Monday Motivation. And today's show is Imposter Syndrome. Tune in now. Bet. There we go. All right. Hey y'all, how you doing out there today? I'm your girl Sunshine Reigns, aka Griselda Blanca, aka You Need a Motivator, aka The Party Starter. And each and every Monday night at 9 p.m. I tune in with you guys so that we can have some motivation, all right? We can talk about the good things that are going on in our world, the things that are making us happy, the things that we're trying to do, working on, the things that we're accomplishing. And not only that, but I like to try to have a subject that we could talk about around and, just really elevate ourselves and be a little bit better. If we can be better 1% each and every day, then think of what we'll be at the end of a year, right? So I'm always very transparent. I try to be very honest and use myself as a guideline or a baseline, because I feel like there's nothing that you can go through that someone else isn't going through. I never really feel like I'm the only one. I just feel like I'm the only one that's honest enough and transparent enough to speak on it or speak out and speak loud. So when I do, I try to make sure I'm as honest as possible and truthful as possible, so that if there's anybody else that is going through it, whether it's the same or similar, they don't feel some kind of way because I only gave you what I felt like I needed you to know. You know, I gave you the good, the bad, and the ugly, and you can judge me as is, but I'm walking in this life the way I can. And these are the only feet, these are the only shoes that I can walk in. And so that I do it with all honesty. If you want to join and talk about anything that's going on with you, and if you want any personalized motivation, please click the join button and we can talk about it. But until then, what I would like to talk about today is imposter syndrome. Let me get my phone so I can get out my notes. Like I said, I love Trello and I really write up a lot of my notes in Trello. If you've never heard of imposter syndrome, it is so it's not a clinical mental disorder, but it is definitely something that plagues a lot of people. I was reading on expert Valerie Young, and she was saying that there are 5 different types of perfectionists. I mean, not perfectionists, but imposter syndrome, personality types. But first, before I tell you what those are, let me explain to you what imposter syndrome is. Imposter syndrome, also called perceived fraudulence, involves feelings of self-doubt and personal incompetence that persist despite your education, your experience, and your accomplishments. To counter these feelings, you might end up working harder and holding yourself to even higher standards. Imposter syndrome refers to an internal experience of believing that you are not as competent as others perceive you to be. While this definition is usually narrowly applied to intelligence and achievement, it has links to perfectionism and in the social context. So basically, not only can imposter syndrome be something that you're doing in your professional life, but imposter syndrome is definitely something that you can be doing in your personal life as well. And so I just want to talk about some of the different ways that imposter syndrome might plague you. And, really let's think about ways that we can combat that as well. If you check in my stories, I've put up a couple of different infographics as far as imposter syndrome is concerned. So if you miss any of the information that I'm giving you today, you can go through there and kind of get a visual of what I was talking about. I learned about imposter syndrome through a really good friend of mine, and she basically was my sounding board. I feel as though every single person should have someone that they can call and talk about their accomplishments to. This person needs to be someone who does not make you feel bad for being good. This needs to be someone who is not jealous of you. This also, I implore that person to be someone who is achieving things just as much as you are, okay? Because that way it doesn't sound as if you are bragging when you are talking to this person. I think a lot of times now we are so stuck up on the idea of having haters and people trying to circumvent what we're doing, or people trying to down what we're doing, that we hold a lot of the stuff inside that really makes us feel good about ourselves, right? And so if you don't have a sounding board, if you don't have someone that you can be like, man, today I killed that shit. Like today, yes, I did it. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have somebody to be like, yes, friend, I'm proud of you, and you know that their love for you is genuine, I think achieving your goals seems less as wonderful. You know what I mean? Like, it's something when you achieve something you've been trying to work really hard at and your friends take you out to celebrate. And then think on the other end of that, where when you've achieved something and no one gives you any acknowledgement for that, right? So that's, again, a reason why I created this platform. If you have something that you want to celebrate, please click the join button. Tell me what you are doing that's absolutely amazing and that you are proud of, so that I can praise you and be proud of you, because I absolutely am. But until somebody joins, until somebody has something that they want to talk about and feel grateful or blessed about, or just give their testimony about, right now we're currently talking about imposter syndrome, okay? So as I was saying, I was brought, my attention was brought to imposter syndrome because in talking to my friend, she let me know that a lot of times I did not see my accomplishments and I didn't see all of the hard work that I was putting in. I only saw the next goal that I was trying to ascertain. What I absolutely loved about our conversation, and if you watched last week, I gave you the homework to start doing this, was she was like, one of the ways that I want you to see how awesome you are and how much you're actually doing, because I always felt overwhelmed. I felt overwhelmed like I had so much more to do because I wasn't doing enough. And in truth, I was doing a lot. I was getting a lot of things done. So she was like, every day, I just want you to write down everything that you do. And the opposite of, or the side of that, what I was trying to get you guys to do, or which I want you to do, is write down what you want to accomplish for the day. And then that gives you some structure as to what you're trying to do. And then as you do it, like mark it down, and all of the extra things that you do that you didn't think about writing on your list, you write those down too, so you can see your accomplishments. But what my friend wanted me to do that day was just to write down every single thing that I did, to show myself that I was doing way more than I was giving myself credit for. Something else is that when you reach your goals, or when you like those, there are milestone goals. For a very long time, my goal was to be on hits 5 days a week. And so there were small goals that I ascertained before I got there. But I can't even tell you what those goals are now, or what those things were, because I never celebrated them within myself. It's almost like a track runner, you know? Like after you run through, and you got to slow down, and you got to celebrate, and you got to be like, yeah, I did it. But I wasn't. I was wrong. Okay, I made it. And I'm running to the next race. I never took a chance to just cheer and take my accolades and appreciate them. And because I never did those things, I know what I'm doing it all for, but I didn't enjoy any of that journey. So now I tell myself that I'm doing a lot, that I'm amazing, that what I'm doing is working. And as I reach certain milestones, I make sure I celebrate those, even if it's in the smallest way. You know, when I made it to 5 days a week, I had a little celebration with my friends. When I got a really big sponsor one time, I took my kids out and I was like, when mommy wins, you guys win, you know, and they were like, congratulations. And it felt good to be able to do something for them because I knew I had accomplished something, I had won, you know. And so that's one of those ways that you can combat imposter syndrome, is to really pay attention to your accomplishments, and you've got to express gratitude for them. How can you gain more accomplishments if you're not grateful for the ones that you've accomplished already? You know what I mean? It's kind of like somebody who gets a Grammy and you're like, oh, I already got 10 Grammys. Okay, so then what is it that you're working for? If it's not to celebrate the fact that you've done it again, right? So, let me see. There's different types of people, and of course, you're going to have different types of personality traits, right? So I'm going to read off the 5 top different personality traits. And if one of these feels like it's you, then I implore you to type into Google imposter syndrome and type in the personality trait and read up on what it says about your particular type of imposter syndrome, because they're all different. Or you might find a little bit of yourself in all of them. So here they go. The first one is the perfectionist. Perfectionism and imposter syndrome also go hand in hand. Think about it. Perfectionists set excessively high goals for themselves, and when they fail to reach a goal, they experience major self-doubt. and worry about measuring up. Whether they realize it or not, this group can also be control freaks, feeling like they want something done right, they have to do it themselves. When I think about this type of person, I think more about students, especially kids in high honors. If you have a child who is like freaking out over having a B, this might be a trait that your kid has about imposter syndrome. Now, there's nothing wrong with wanting a person to achieve the highest and to be the best, but sometimes you will be number two. Sometimes you're not going to reach that. If you don't, are you going to lose your shit? Is the world going to be over? Is everything all on the fact that you had to be number one? Because there's nothing wrong with being number two. So many lessons come in being number two and gives you more strength to try to want to be harder to be number one. You know, you have to find the goodness. You have to find the positivity, even in the negative aspect of whatever is happening. I try that all the time. Anytime something negative has happened, I always try to think to myself, okay, but something had to come good out of this, even if it's something very small. You know, even if it's something very minuscule. So pay attention not only to yourself, but I want you to pay attention to your children as well. Okay, if you have high achieving children and they have issues with not being the best, you need to figure out a way to let them know that what they do is good enough, and you are absolutely proud of them for achieving what they have achieved. All right, let's keep going. The superwoman or superman. Since people who experience this phenomenon are convinced that they're phonies against real deal colleagues, they often push themselves to work harder and harder to measure up. But this is just a false cover-up for their insecurities, and the work overload may harm not only their own mental health, but also their relationships with others. Okay, so I think this one is kind of me, because I don't always feel as though I'm supposed to be where I am. Like, someone gave me the opportunity to be on the radio. It wasn't like, ooh, I've been podcasting, or ooh, I've been doing radio, and, you know, I see this station and I want to get on it. Or it wasn't like I went to college for this, or I had any background. So a lot of times I work extremely hard so that when you see my show, you don't look at my show and be like, it's fugazi. Like, I want everything about my production to be just as good or on the level as anybody else's production that you see. And so I work feverishly. Like, I work very, very hard to come across like that. Even now, trying to upgrade my equipment. The main reason why I want to upgrade my equipment is because I just want it to look more on the nose. You know, I can keep going off looking the way it looks now, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I want it to be better, you know, and I do want it to be better in comparison to my colleagues. And I don't mind saying that. Like, it's not, you know, a negative thing to me. Whereas there are pieces of my brain that say that shouldn't matter. And that is a negative thing. You're trying to keep up with the Joneses. But it's not. Because keeping up with the Joneses with me going broke to do it. I'm willing to wait and to slowly accumulate to get to where I'm trying to be. So, I don't know. I struggle with this one. The next one is the expert. Experts measure their competence based on what and how much they know or can do. Believing they will never know enough, they fear being exposed as inexperienced or unknowledgeable. Do you ever know a person, or have you ever met a person that anytime you're explaining something, or anytime, you know, you're trying to take control of something, they have to tell you the right way to do it. They know how to do it. Their way is the only way. There's no other bending or compromise. A lot of times these people are micromanagers. They feel as though they have to stand over you and make sure that you get you ever have somebody ask you to do something, and as you're doing it they snatch it away from you and just give it to me, I do it, I can do this better. That's this type of person. I would say if you are this type of person, you don't have to prove to anybody how smart you are. When you have expertise, people naturally flock to you and want your opinion. You don't have to bombard them with it. Shout out to Sisu, who's paying attention right now, who's on right now. Anytime it has anything to do with something with plants, I see her expertise. She doesn't have to offer it to me because I already know, or I can see what she's doing and where she's going and where her mind is. So the whole jack of all trades, master of none, there is something to that, in the sense of, I get it that you know everything, but you can't know everything. And just because you might know everything, I know something too, right? And so you have to give another person that ability to know as well, or learn in motion as well. You know, with the expert, they never want there to be any wrong. They don't want anything to be wrong. And I'm a firm believer that you learn the most when things are going wrong. When the shit hits the fan, that's when you really find out who you are and what you are about. That's when you find out how quick your mind works. That's when you find out how them synapses touch each other. You know what I mean? Like put yourself, and not just you, put your kids in situations. If you can learn how to put your kids in controlled environments where you put them in a distressful situation to find out how they're going to handle it, it's a good thing. The last couple of generations have worked so hard to try to make sure children do not hurt themselves, do not feel any strife, do not feel any anger, do not feel any misfortune. And now we have a whole generation of people who have so much anxiety because they don't know how to survive, because they've never been given a chance to fly on their own. If you instead teach your children how to cope with pain, how to cope with failure, and not stop them from feeling failure, then when you're not there to protect them from that, they will be able to deal with it and they will be able to manage. Right now, we have a whole society of people who are over medicated and who are unstimulated mentally because they've never been given a chance to stand on their own 2 feet and make their own choices and decisions and to get from A to B. If there's always someone rescuing you, this whole mindset of I'll just wait until somebody comes along. Well, somebody did come along. You just didn't like what it was. You know what I mean? You was waiting for a yacht to come, but damn it, a rowboat came. I don't understand that, you know. The savior mentality being a savior to your children creates a completely different person than you might be anticipating creating later on. Your whole point of raising children is to help a person, this replica of you, to be able to survive in society after you are gone, and to be able to pass that genetic code and information on to the next generation so that they can survive. We are not giving our next generation the code to survive. If anything, we're giving them the code to self-destruction. All right. I'm sorry. I went left field. Here go another one. The natural genius. Young says people with this competence type believe that they need to be a natural genius, such as they judge their competence based on ease and speed as opposed to their effort. In other words, if they take too long to master something, they feel shamed. This is something that's going on with our generation now too. They never want to fail. We were just talking about this. So when they start something or they try something, if they don't do it right the first time, then they're not willing to continue to do something over and over and over again, and to continue to fail over and over again until they learn. Failure is controlled practice. That is all failure is. Okay? Failure is learning how to do something over and over and over again until you take away the retardation and the ignorance. Now we hear those words, and these white ladies have convinced us that these are bad words. But if we actually look up those words, to retard is to stop growth. So wherever it is right then and there is where it stopped. If you only practice an instrument for 3 days and don't try to practice anymore, you have retarded your growth at the 3-day mark. If you practice for 30 years and you never practice again, you will only be as good as you are at 30 days. Once you stop, you retard your growth to that 30-year mark or 30 days or whatever it is. Retardation is not a bad word. It is simply explaining that the growth stopped at this point. Do not allow yourself to retard your growth because you couldn't get over the fact that you were failing. Were you paying attention to why you were failing? What was causing the failure? Because then it becomes a scientific experiment. If I do A to try to get B and instead I get C, then now I need to do something different on A. So now I'm going to try B to see if I can get B. And if I get C again, I'm going to try a different letter until you get it right. Okay, hold on. I got another one. Let me go. Here we go. The last one is the soloist. This person sufferers who feel as though asking for help reveals phoniness are what Young calls soloists. It's okay to be independent, but not to the extent that you refuse assistance so that you can prove your worth. I think that this one also is a big thing right now. A lot of people don't want to ask for help because they feel like asking for help means that they don't understand or that they couldn't do it on their own. And we need to remember that 2 heads are better than 1. Why is it that the FBI always creates a team to find the unsub? Because you have multiple people working together against one person, right? And the more you have, the more you expound upon the experience and the knowledge. The idea that we have to do this alone and that I don't need any help, I can do this all by myself, you're only going to get but so far. That's exactly why I have Alex. I know I can go and do the show by myself. There's no problem with that. But it's so much better when there's 2 people involved. The thought process is better. The banter is better. The back and forth is better. Add another person, you add a completely different element. There's a reason why they say it's better to have a 2-parent home versus a single-parent home. If you are afraid to ask for help, you are retarding your growth as well. If you are afraid to ask for help because you are afraid to look like a failure, you are retarding your growth just as well. Imposter syndrome is the act of retarding growth because you believe something about yourself that is not true. You are either trying to hold on to an image, basically, like I said, by saying you don't want to ask for help because you don't want somebody to think that you didn't have the information, or you give out way too much information and you try to do everything because you want to feel as though you know what to do, or or you have to control things. If that's the personality type, you have to convince yourself, you have to teach yourself that it is okay not to know. It is okay not to be in control. On the other end, if you feel as though you have to do so much more to prove your worth, to prove that you are worthy, I want you to step back and appreciate the things that you have accomplished. Imposter syndrome is how we look at and how we talk to ourselves. What is your inner voice telling you when you are doing things? I'm going to tell you something that's imposter syndrome that a lot of people don't realize is imposter syndrome. But throughout the week, as an entrepreneur, I want you to think about how often you've done this. If you have a price and someone tells you that they can't pay it, that it's too high, that they can't afford it, but you know what it takes for you to do whatever it is that you are charging for, if you lower your price for that person, that is imposter syndrome. Your price is what it is for a reason. Whether it's because of what you do, what you create, what you produce. If you lower your price because you feel as though a person won't pay it, because you're not sure if you're worth that, if you're like, oh, well, you know what, maybe my price is too high. That is imposter syndrome. And more than anything, I want you to do the intelligent thing. I don't want you to lower your price because they said so. I want you to go and do market research. Find out if your price is in line with other people in the market based upon your experience and your skill set, based upon who you are and what you are providing. And if you feel like your price is in line, don't you change it. If you feel like your price is out of range, then I don't want you to make, like, the next thing we do is we discount it half price. No. Discount it $5. You know what I'm saying? But that at least gives you internally a chance to accept this price, to know that you are worthy and worth it. Because I'm telling you right now, the first time somebody pays that price that you have set, you're not going to go back down to the lower price, because you know you are worth it and you can get it at this price, at this standard. Imposter syndrome lives within your head. It does not live outside of it. Imposter syndrome is only something that you provide for yourself. So the only way to kill it is with self-esteem, with confidence, with knowing what you are trying to accomplish and paying attention to it every single day. Imposter syndrome can also plague your life and your personal relationships. If you are with someone and you are settling for the relationship because you don't feel as though you are worthy of anyone else, or that anyone else will treat you better, this again is imposter syndrome. How are you speaking to yourself? What words are you using? Not only that, what voice are you using? I realized I was yelling at myself. I talked to myself very harshly. I use dirty words when speaking to myself. Now, on the outside, I wouldn't let anybody talk to me the way that my brain would talk to me. So why would I let myself talk to myself like that? So I had to change my internal conversation. And still daily, I have to do that. I find that my brain comes from the back somewhere and I will yell at myself. And I have to tell myself, wait a minute, you ain't got to talk to me like that. Express your feelings and your emotions and don't just yell at me. It's not always easy, but it's definitely fun. Learning who you are, finding about who you are once you realize that you do something should be fun and interesting, because that's the meaning of life. We are consistently and constantly asking, what's the point? What's the journey? Why are we doing this? And it's something very simple and basic. It's just to learn how to be a better version of who you were yesterday, so that you can learn how to be and move and function in this world and society in the best way to pass that down to the next generation. That's all it is. Now, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. That's all I really have to talk about imposter syndrome. Like I said, if you go through my stories, in my stories, there's a ton of info, graphics and quotes and different things that you can read up on as far as imposter syndrome is concerned. I'm really thinking about finding this book from this lady Valerie and reading it. We might read it in my book club. I do have a book club. Everything we do talk about, read about, research in my book club is all about personal development, being a better person than you were yesterday. So if you would like to join my book club, all you have to do is go to allhustlenofear.com, and the book club is up at the top. We talk every day in the book club, and I ask that you read 5 pages front and back daily. That's it. What else? You know, you can catch me each and every morning from 7 to 10 on Hits 92.3, where, you know, I wake you up in the morning in a positive way. And more than anything, I just want you guys to tell 3 people about this live, that we're sitting up here talking about ways to be better people. We're talking about ways that we can motivate ourselves. And we're talking about the things that you have accomplished that you're absolutely proud of, you know. If you suffer from imposter syndrome, if this has given you a little bit of insight into yourself, drop some hearts. Let me know. I definitely appreciate it. If you look decent and you're not naked and you want to join the live, go ahead and click the join button. I'll let you come in and we can discuss this a little further. I give you guys I think you got another about 8 minutes with me, about another 8 minutes. Y'all know I keep it short, keep it simple. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I have a couple of other topics that I want to talk to you guys so far. I don't know how they're going to come up, but one of my topics is failure. Another one is the power of yes. And on the other instance, the power of no. You know, a lot of times no should be and is a complete sentence. But at the same time, we're so afraid to say yes to things. I say no before I say yes. And something that I had to learn how to do was to just wait, take the information and say, I'll get back to you, instead of saying no first. It's a journey. It's a journey. Networking versus being introverted. And that asking for help doesn't make you weak. So I have a couple of different topics that each week, like I said, on a Monday, I'll come on here and I'll talk to you guys about. Hopefully, if you have anything positive, anything amazing going on in your life, and you would like a cheerleader to tell you, I am so proud of you, great job, I am here for that. Or if you need some personalized motivation, you need somebody to tell you, get your shit together or I'm going to kick you in the ass. I'm here for that as well. All right. I'm your girl, Sunshine Reigns. One thing before I do go, I just want you guys to start doing my mantra. I've been doing these with my kids ever since before they were able to talk. So I have 2 of them and we'll start doing these each and every night. All right. My first mantra is, I am strong. I am amazing. I am a queen, or whatever your pronoun is, and then your name. Okay, so we're going to do this 3 times, all right? I am strong. I am amazing. I am a queen. Queen Sunshine. I am strong. I am amazing. I can do anything. I am a queen. Queen Sunshine. I am strong. I am amazing. I can do anything. I am a queen. Queen who? I am Queen Sunshine. The next one that I say is, I am organized. I am in control. I am focused. And I am able. I am organized in my daily life and what I do. I am in control of nothing except my emotions and my feelings. I am focused on the things that I want to accomplish and the person that I want to be. And I am able to do anything that I put my mind to. This is me, the Hood Unicorn. I'll see you tomorrow on All Hustle No Fear. And I'll see you for Monday Motivation next week right here at 9 p.m. Bye.